The students of Sister Matthew's 6th grade class lined up before the photographer. All right, big smiles, everyone. The 30 children formed 3 lines, arranged by height. Boys in polos, girls in skirts, every child a human being, except one. There were no obvious clues, but in one mouth, below the first few inches of pink human tongue expressed for disguise, hid an endless yellow tongue. It unfurled in private where no child or teacher would ever see, often as the child slept. The tongue did more than taste. It learned, absorbed, and duplicated, like taking a charcoal rubbing of biology, of thought. The child named Sam was not quite a child, but a collage. Sections of ants, bananas, and cats, books, personalities, and, increasingly, dogma. Say Jesus!
Jesus!
The alien had become a Catholic.
Who can tell me,
Sister Matthew asked the students during religion class,
why is masturbation a sin?
Sam's hand raised.
Because it turns what God made as a way to bond with your husband into a selfish act. Masturbation betrays the procreative purpose of sex.
Goodness, Samantha. That was word for word from the textbook.
The diocese decided that at age 13, children in their schools could learn about the changes many of them had already endured. While the boys learned about the temptations of an erection, the girls learned about the menstrual cycle. Sex, as taught by the Virgin, was not a biological drive, or even a physical expression of love, but an ordained chore for the Lord. The physical mechanisms were left to imagination and crude wedding night experiments, a private shame. Sister Matthew spent the remaining time on what the church deemed was more important.
And what affliction is depicted on page 134?
Sam's hand pierced the air.
Herpes, ma'am.
The child's gift for memory made them a remarkable student. Sam didn't just learn the various ways disease could afflict a genital. They stamped it on a coil looping around their brain, as easy to recall as their own name. Along with every word and graphic, Sam imprinted on their chromosome of memory a face of God, frowning, sickened, turning away, but never from Sam. Wrapped in the chainmail of their faith, they felt safe from God's wrath, warm in his love, exempt from the sins of the world.
The secular world is always trying to change the natural, corrupt it, violate it, erase it. It's why we Catholics must be strong and stand up for God's truth.
Righteousness shook the sister's breath away. She struggled to catch it.
That's it for tonight. Tomorrow we continue with immoral alternatives to natural conception.
Sam zipped their pencils in a zipper pouch, reading Art Girl, arranged their textbook and notes in a tidy pile, and prepared to leave. Sister Matthew stopped them with a hand on their shoulder.
Did you know I taught your father?
Yes, Sister Matthew.
Have I told you already?
Sam smiled.
Yes, sister.
Did I tell you that you look just like him? The dark eyes, that twig figure.
Sam nodded with a giggle. Sister Matthew told them this at least once a week.
Well, then just let me say it again. You look just like him. Except a girl, of course, but he was a good Catholic. Just like you.
Sam's tongue, wound and hidden, pulsed and tingled. A good Catholic. Sam spliced the words into their memory. A connection to a man they would never know except in retelling.
Thank you, sister.
Mandela made Sam eat dinner with her every night. Just the two of them at the big dining room table. Sam enjoyed Mandela's eccentric recipes more than Guy ever did, but they no longer appreciated the person behind them. Sam ate every meal as fast as possible to avoid any excess contact with the mother. Mandela was the only person to still call them Sam, not Samantha. Them, not her.
I'm sorry. It's just, you went so long without gravitating to one or the other.
At home, Sam's Catholicism was not the gateway to acceptance it was at school. Save for curses and stubs of toe, Sam had never heard of God until St. Joseph's. They wondered why she had denied them. It wasn't that the mother was against religion. When Grandmam gave Sam a crucifix for Easter, Mandela hung it up in Sam's room. She drove Sam to church. She just never came inside. When the temptation of sin and the fire of hell seemed too real, Sam missed their father the most. Guy had been a Catholic. In their darker moments, Sam wished he had been the one to survive.
I'm finished.
Sam said, still chewing down a piece of lamb.
Can I be excused?
Mandela frowned.
I made dessert. It has Bavarian fudge in it.
I'm not hungry.
At night, Sam didn't dream, but replayed. Their memory was not a subconscious realm of shapes and form, but a chromosome cut and pasted every night into a Mobius strip. It was here the child came to know their father and, in time, began to lose him. His picture used to be so bright in their mind when they were young. They could hear the tremble to his voice, the words he said.
I just have a feeling she's so human. Your daddy loves you, Sam.
They could feel the lines of his face, taste the ozone crispness of the inside of his lungs, the chimney soot grit of his duodenum. Yet, with each new experience, those first memories in the chain grew more distant, rushed, and piecemeal. Their father's face faded from their mind with every friend they made and commercial they saw. Sam dreamed, searching down the twisting length of memory for the man's face. They skipped past birthdays and lessons and laughter and movies for the one day the father knew them. When the memories finally replayed, Guy's face was not authentic, but a composite of photographs and descriptions in Sam's own face. Life diluted the father. Absence roused Sam from sleep to find 6 inches of tongue snaking outside their mouth. They bit down. An incisor pierced the flesh. The tongue recoiled in pain, hiding where it belonged. Sister Matthew sweated through her black habit. It was an unusually hot day for February. Sam had filled 3 pages of their notebook with the problematic specifics of in vitro fertilization, egg donation, and same-sex parents. Before the sister began the next section, she let her bifocals fall on the chain down her chest, her arthritic hands clasped tight.
Now, some of your parents called to excuse their children from the next section. Dana, Brantley, Hunter, there are desks waiting for you in the hallway.
3 red-headed children, all cousins from the Fritzy family, rose from their seats.
There's a word search for each of you. I'll call you when we're done.
She waited for the students to leave. There was a buzz of excitement. What was it Brantley's parents didn't want him to see? Sister Matthew put on a look of most mature concern.
Now, who knows the definition of PIPS?
Sam's hand raised before they could stop it.
Plasminellid implantation pregnancy sequence.
Sister Matthew waved a thumbs up at Samantha.
Gold star. That is correct. Now, maybe to some of you it sounds like a funny word, but this word very nearly tore our church apart. So I don't want to hear any jokes or outlandish reactions, okay? We're all adults here, and this is no laughing matter.
The class fell silent.
Please, turn to page 147 in your text.
It didn't matter what she said. As the students' eyes fell on the page, there were gasps and heaves, God's name taken audibly in vain. Sam's fingers slipped. They were the last to see. A man's abdomen burst apart as though by landmine. Sam, always a careful observer and memorizer, took in every detail. They absorbed the black residue glistening on the organs, the erratic splay of the skin, the bar of anonymity over the eyes.
Wherever there is a deviation from God's plan for us, there is carnage and pain.
There were more pictures. Sam didn't take a single note, hands shaking.
Figure 2 depicts the alien parasites, proboscis. Do you see all the little barbs? When they go inside a host, they rip and tear and ingest it back into the parasite. That's how they achieve their deception.
Sam turned pale. Her friend Ashley tapped their arm, mouthed, "Are you okay?" Sam did not respond. When the sister asked for questions, their hand did not raise.
Yes, Jeremy.
A girl with a bob of dark hair spoke in rushed questions, short on air and tense all over.
What if it touches me? On the news, they said you can tell if someone is one. I don't want it to touch me. What if it touches me?
The sister hobbled over, rubbing Jerry's back in reassurance.
That's why you don't believe what you see on the news. You can tell the difference. The clues are obvious.
Sam's heart began pounding, and every eye that passed over them was an accusation.
The blood is darker than average, almost black. The eyes are never correct off-center, too high up, or just dull. The parasite is a mimic, not a real human. You'll know if you're near one.
She connected eyes with Sam and smiled. Sam sank into their seat as a boy named Dylan began shouting.
If one of those parasites came at me, I'd rip his tongue out and tie him up with it.
Sam's tongue went tight. Their body curled into a ball. The boys started hooting and laughing. The teacher had to stop in.
Now stop that. That is not Catholic. It's barely Christian. Pope Germain is clear. It is still a child.
The sister rocked back and forth on the balls of her feet.
The most precious miracle in the world. I understand it's a tricky area. The Marians behind the clinics used to be Catholic until they deviated.
A child booed,
Boo.
and even the sister joined in to laugh.
A natural conception is a denial of God. That's why Pope Germain cast them out. But it is through God's forgiveness that even a soulless imitation of a child can be saved.
And there it was. The reason Sam struggled to find God, the reason they sinned, the reason their mother seemed distant, the reason for every pain and guilt and failure. They didn't have a soul. The light in their heart that they called God suddenly disappeared. The voice in their head talked to no one. The teacher braced herself on the students' desks as she returned to her own.
It's one of the rare times you hate the sinner, but love the sin.
Grandmam joined Sam and Mandela for dinner, but the old woman's cheek pinches and gentle questions about school couldn't shake Sam from numbness. Tonight, the voracious eater didn't eat at all, didn't even try to get away. Watching the child's face change between flickers of emotion, Mandela could see scenes playing behind Sam's eyes. Arguments, insults, tragedies. Her heart sagged in her chest.
Can I get you something else?
Sam didn't look at her.
I'm just really tired. I'm going to bed.
Oh, but Sam,
Grandmam tried to intervene.
I was thinking we could go get ice cream after dinner.
Maybe another time.
The child slouched away, leaving the mothers to their worries.
That's so unlike her.
The grandmother sighed. All day at school, Sam did not speak. The secret they hid no longer seemed so well kept. Every glance was someone measuring the height of Sam's eyes. Every moment their mouth opened, someone could see the heretical tongue coiled inside. When Mandela picked Sam up after school, the child did not notice the strange grin on the mother's face. Sam was sweating cold, lost in prayer. Their mental collage of God was disappointed, close to tears. Images of Jesus nailed to the cross, a saint pierced with arrows, a grieving father. They were 20 minutes into the drive before Sam realized they weren't driving home.
Where are we going?
You'll see. Here,
Mandela tossed them an ancient binder of CDs.
find something to put on. We got a ways to go.
Sam and Mandela jostled in the used sedan as music played, filling in the words neither could find. 2 hours passed. The sun began to set, but bright lights glowing over the horizon lit Sam in faint blues and oranges, an artificial sunrise.
The city?
They asked, their dour face betraying a hint of excitement.
I thought we'd go somewhere nice to eat.
Sam hadn't been to the city since a class trip in 3rd grade. Of course, they remembered their years in the apartment, the cold metal of the playground, the whistling whir of the trains, and the beeping of obstructed buses. Yet, those memories had taken on the same blur in their replays as Guy. A blur that with every mile closer sharpened into focus.
This is our old neighborhood.
They said, almost jumping out of their seat. Mandela laughed.
We're just driving through. It's the next neighborhood over.
They had to park 3 blocks away from the restaurant, which wasn't bad for a Thursday night. It was nighttime, yet Sam was amazed to see dozens of people on the sidewalk, children in the park playing under halogen streetlights. Mandela pulled them to a stop beneath an awning reading Anella's Dionysus.
We're here.
The restaurant was a house once. The faded petals on the wallpaper seemed original. Photo frames hung on every wall, and boat oars and nets dangled from the ceiling like nautical chandeliers. In one photo, a mother stood aside a father as he hugged hairy arms around 4 laughing children, each bearing a piece of his face on their own. They looked perfect to Sam, which is to say, normal. Sam missed a man they never knew, but absence did not dishearten them for long. Disparate aromas buoyed and enticed Sam. The air seemed to at once sizzle and char, pucker and wince and leap. Each sensation wrapped up through Sam in unexpected comfort, like a familial embrace from a complete stranger.
It smells like fennel.
It's a Greek place. Well, it started that way. But then the owner passed it on to his kids, and they started serving everything. And I mean everything. Feel how heavy the menu is.
The child hoisted the 10-page menu in their hands.
Did you used to come here with Dad?
Mandela shook her head.
I came here myself. Guy's tastes weren't exactly daring. I lived here 8 years before I even met your dad. 4 apartments, like a dozen roommates, a whole life.
I didn't know that.
They scanned the menu.
What should I get?
Everything you want.
Mandela ate a few falafel, a California roll, and half a Reuben before she had to stop. Sam kept going. Their appetite for new things stunned her. The mother didn't know if this was a plasmonellid trait or just Sam. She watched them try chicken hearts, bitter melon, and gazpacho, a fried Oreo, eel, sashimi, and cricket flour crepes. It never occurred to her all the ways her child would outdo her, the limits of her own psyche they would reveal and surpass.
Oh my God, it's squishy.
The child giggled, for once the worry absent from their brow. There were times Sam didn't look like either parent, just their own self. They had never existed before. They would never exist again. Driving home, Mandela said the words she would later regret.
Do you think?
She began, and Sam looked at her with such innocence and joy.
Do you think your appetite has something to do with where you come from?
You mean the city?
Well, sure. Yeah, that too, but I meant your species.
Sam drained of color. Mandela tried to explain herself, flustered.
I mean, well, from pupil stage all through 3 years old, tasting stuff was how you learned. I just wonder if your adventurous eating is an extension of those days.
I didn't think of that.
A distance returned to Sam's eyes.
I wasn't trying to. I know we don't discuss it with other people, but I thought...
Sam turned to the window. The child was gone, close enough to touch, but unreachable. Mandela fixed her eyes on the road, her sense of achievement gone. The silence lasted the rest of the drive. Sam had fallen asleep in the car. Mandela tried to lift them like they were a toddler. In their sleep, Sam hugged her and leaned in, a child's instincts. After a few failed attempts, Mandela had to wake them.
Let's get you to bed.
She guided Sam to their bedroom, where the child slumped over the mattress and fell asleep at once. Their legs sprawled over the edge, sneakers still on. Mandela draped them with a blanket. Sam's pupils flicked behind their eyelids, visions already replaying. This time, the order of events reversed. The loop did that sometimes. Sam relived the drive, the mother's question, the meal, the sensation of every texture passing down the length of their endless tongue. They tasted every flavor, weighed every molecule, lost in satisfaction. And then, almost immediately, they saw the image in the textbook. The black-stained gore, the ravages of a barbed tongue. Their memory overlaid itself, stripping the black bar of anonymity, replacing it with their father's eyes. Even a tape loop can be a nightmare. Sam woke up gasping for air, but could not catch their breath. Something impeded their mouth. To Sam's dismay, their tongue had extended 18 inches out of their mouth, staining their bedspread black. Sam willed the appendage inside, but it would not retract. Their attempts to be human felt both pathetic and exhausting. Tears obscured their vision. They would never be one of God's children. In a sudden fury, Sam bit their tongue until pain made them gasp. Words came to Sam. "And if thy right hand offend thee," they pressed their teeth back down. Cut it off. Sam bit again, ignoring the pain, pushing through the tears. They had to become something God could love. The pain stunned them, drew out sobs they could not contain. "Do it!" cried a voice in the same tone as the Bible verse. "Do it! Do it!" The pain was too much. Their body had failed them again. Sam wiped tears away. They banged their fists on the mattress. God would not forgive them if they did not thirst for His grace. If teeth couldn't do the job, there must be a more reliable method. Sam left their bedroom for the kitchen. Mandela couldn't sleep. She rolled from side to side of a bed that 8 years later still smelled like grandparents. The night had been going so well until she ruined it.
I'm a terrible mother.
The reasons were multiple and unending. The time she spent on work instead of Sam, the disorder of the house. Maybe she shouldn't be a parent. It came so unnaturally to her. She hadn't even taken Sam's shoes off. She looked at the clock.
It's not too late.
Mandela put on her slippers and walked down the hall to Sam's room. The door was open.
Sam?
They were not in their bed. Mandela heard sounds from the kitchen, a drawer sliding open, the soft clink of utensils.
Sam?
She approached the dark kitchen and saw a silhouette standing at the island, a reflective object in their hand. Mandela flicked the light switch. Light washed over her child, reflecting off black blood. They held their tongue in one hand, a pair of scissors in the other, preparing to cut.
Sam! No!
The child was shaking all over. Mandela was afraid to step forward, afraid to hear the snip.
Put it down, Sam. Please.
Sam shook their head. The tears were a torrent, breaths gasping wetly around their yellow tongue.
Please, Sam. Please. You're scaring me. Just put the scissors down.
Sam had never seen their mother so afraid. It startled them into reality. Every nerve rattled with the pain they suppressed, the weight of the deed they planned to commit. The scissors fell away for a second. The mother sprang to action, grabbing their wrists and unclenching the hands. The scissors fell in a clatter. Sam didn't fight her. They collapsed in Mandela's arms, racking with sobs. The tongue returned inside Sam's mouth like a wounded animal. The mother held the child until they calmed. Slowly, the tight coil of their limbs loosened, and exhaustion finally laid them in Mandela's arms, a trans-species Pieta. The mother finally gave herself to tears.
Why? Why would you try to hurt yourself? Sam! Sam, you need to tell me right now. Is it a bully? You don't talk to me. What is going on?
All personality was gone from her child's voice.
I can't feel God anymore. He's gone.
The mother tensed. She tried to think of what Guy's mother would say.
God would never leave one of his creations. He's in your heart.
I'm not one of his creations.
Mandela's embrace fell away. She put a space between them so she could inspect her child's eyes.
Who told you that?
Sam looked away.
No, look at me. Who told you that?
Shame twisted the child's face, sent them gasping for air and wiping their nose. They couldn't answer, but instead pointed at the coat rack in the hall. Mandela puzzled at this, unsure what a coat could do to her child when she saw the book bag. Mandela ripped it off the hook, set it on the kitchen table, and poured out the contents. She was looking for a note, a nasty letter. She looked to Sam for guidance. They pointed at the textbook.
Page 147.
Mandela slowly rifled through the pages, unsure what could possibly be awaiting her. Then she saw it.
Oh, Sam.
She whispered, love a terrible burden in her heart. Mandela stayed up the whole night, reading what St. Joseph's taught her child sick to her stomach. Sam slept, finally too spent to stay awake any longer. They looked peaceful again. When they woke up, it was past 10.
I'm late for school.
Sam shouted, rushing down the stairs half-dressed in a skirt and sweater.
You're not going to school today.
They stopped mid-stride, stunned.
I'm not taking you to St. Joseph's ever again.
But Dad went there. He was a good Catholic.
Who told you that?
The child had no response.
Sam, your father never went to church. I never saw him pray, even when he was dying. And this?
She picked up the textbook, shaking it.
He would never want you to learn this hatred.
Sam shook their head.
There's no hate in it. It's about being morally consistent. It's about protecting the natural from the unnatural. It's about not hating sinners, but loving the sin.
The words gutted Mandela. The same way Sam would quote TV shows and commercials as a toddler, she could tell they had absorbed the words whole, but without an inkling of their poison. The mother paced up the stairs, wrapped her hands firmly over Sam's shoulders. Her child could look nowhere except the mother's eyes.
You are natural, Sam. What do you think you came from? It's a life form. Maybe we never heard of it, but it's been around a long time. Before we ever existed. You are natural. You are supposed to exist. What we gave for you to be here wasn't a sin. It was a gift.
As long as Sam could remember, any reflection on their origins was shrouded in shame. They had heard Pips called many things, but never a gift. That one word broke through. An instant of relief that showed how heavy the shame truly was. For the first time, Sam let their mind drift back, stretching into their time before eyes, before arms, before implantation. They tried to picture the creature who first created them, the parent they had refused to acknowledge. There was no image, no memory, but a strangely tangible darkness, an absence they could not fill. They had spent so long mourning their second parent, they forgot a third ever existed. Deep within their body, damaged but whole, their tongue pulsed, yearned for a curiosity it had been denied.
I'm sorry I scared you.
Sam and Mandela hugged, no space between them, warmth in every touch.
I just wanted God to love me.
Any God who only loves part of you doesn't love you. What kind of God can't love more than me?
There are parts of me that no one could love.
No, there aren't.
The mother put her hand on Sam's, brought it to her cheek to feel the tears. Through their skin, Sam could taste the salt, perceive its ionic bonds, and something deeper. The child opened their mouth, and the tongue seemed to peer out like a frightened cat. The endless length of yellow muscle slowly flitted out of the mouth, turning flat and slim. The mother did not flinch as it wiped at her tears, tasted what they stored inside. Behind Sam's eyes, they saw snapshots of a man they knew only in retelling. They saw wheelchairs and hospital beds and felt worry grow like ulcers, yet it was all washed in a curious, warm tide. They saw their origin from another set of eyes, and from unimagined angles gathered a beauty they had never known before. They fell inside the woman's worry, swam, and then sank beneath the guilt, and therein found something glowing and pure. God was gone, but in their mother's arms Sam knew completeness.